everyone, welcome back to In Bed with Kate. And today we're gonna discuss not our sex toys or reviews or sex techniques. We'll dive into adult retail and what's happening in the market right now and how retailers can adjust, how they can offer what the market needs right now, and how they can make it through this recession period without losing much, maybe even gaining something. So while I was preparing for this panel at XB's, I decided, okay, like we gotta have this unfiltered, uncensored version of it. So here we go. If you are somebody who is watching this channel and you don't work in B2B adult retail and manufacturing, please skip this video. And if this topic is interesting for you, or if you work in other type of retail, or you own a small business, or you own a shop, please keep watching. It's gonna be a lot of valuable advice from myself. And because as somebody who used to run 60 store retail chain and somebody who had experience on both manufacturing and retail side of our business, I think I do qualify for this conversation with you today. We are at the beginning of the year, so having an action plan in the year like 2026 is crucial. And first, let me explain you what assumptions about adult retail are not true anymore as we are heading into 2026, and what shifts we are seeing in consumer behavior in adult retail and retail overall. So, first of all, let me break it down from the economic standpoint, right? So, what's happening right now is recession correction because in 2020, what happened, right? We had a COVID and a lot of money were injected in economy, meaning after that you have inflation, right? So the interest rates were raised, and as a consequence, the spending has slowed down, right? Meaning people's budgets got tighter. This is just the economy, like first year of university. My Cambridge professor, when it was just happening, when the first stimulus was announced, called me from UK and goes, "Hey, is it for real? Like, are people really getting money?" I said, "Yes." And he goes, "Look, you want to save money right now because there is no way you can inject money in economy and then not have an inflation, right? As you can feel in your own pocket, you do think twice before spending money right now because things are going up, but your salary remains the same. If that's the case for you, where I'm going with this, it's the same case for your customers. They are not in a different position than you know? So, like, even people who have millions, billions of dollars keep losing those millions and billions. Yes, they still have more left to play with, but this is just overall trend that is happening in economy of the United States and the global economy across the globe. So we just have to adjust and start working with this rather than panic about it. The good news is that historically US economy always goes up. But before it goes up, it hits a rock bottom, right? So if you have ever looked at the stock market charts, S&P 500, you can definitely see it from the graphics and the charts, right? So we have to just hang in there until it goes up. But this period, while we're waiting, might wipe out a lot of people out of the business if certain steps are not taken and if we don't start putting more effort and finding new channels for selling our stuff, right? Whether you are retail or manufacturer. Basically, this pattern is not very common. I'd say, like, the situation we are in right now is not very common for American manufacturers and retailers because, for instance, in Russia, quite frankly, every year we were ready for something like that, right? So we were very creative with everything that was happening because of these changes in economy that were caused by the currency exchange rates, by the invasion of Ukraine for the first time in 2014. I remember we were changing the price tags every week at some point, like literally every week, because when you buy it from abroad, right, and the currency is crazy. What can you do? The good news is that United States is still the biggest economy of the world, right? It has the biggest GDP and it has the biggest society of consumption or even overconsumption. Meaning, here you are in a better position than retailers in adult anywhere in the world, right? But we just have to get out of our comfort zone because you can make so much more if you start not relying on your current customers, but actually start thinking about how do I reach new customers? How do I bring new business? Because this is what I see in both retailers and manufacturers. We're just trying to reach our targets and pushing the same people who buy from us to buy more. But if they are restricted in their spending and if their budget is frozen, like how they supposed to pay you more and buy more if they're just trying to basically survive and pay their bills, right? So you can compensate it, bringing in new business, attracting new customers. But in order to do so, you, retailer or manufacturer, have to make this decision for yourself, first of all, and then look into the areas of improvement and what things are not working anymore and what things will help you to push through this. First of all, we have to understand that yes, our industry is still kind of a basic need, right? It's not maybe food, but sex is still one of the basic needs. However, if you have to save right now, right? Maybe from the expensive lubricant, you will switch to something simpler than that and something that is less pricey. Or let's say if before this store was on your way, and even though it was more expensive than on Amazon, you didn't really have to compare. But now, when you do need something, you would order it somewhere where it's cheaper, meaning in online marketplaces. However, you as a brick and mortar store or you as an online retailer who is not Amazon, you will be left in cold, right? So, how do we deal with that? First of all, your consumer can be convinced that they have to spend money with you and not with Jeff Bezos, right? Because I'm sure nobody likes the man, but how to convince them to spend money with you? Offer them additional value or explain them the value of your business in the first place. Many of you have such a great history about how they build their companies, how they build those stores. But most of the times, you can hear about this while like having a drink at the show, but you can never read about it anywhere. There is no brand book, there is no brand story behind the brand, but I know that many of you have it. Many of you have built amazing communities around your stores. Many of you have become destinations for people who need to feel safe, for people who need to feel protected, for people who need to save their marriage. Like your mission is way bigger than just transactions, right? And this is something you have to remember, especially in the times like this. Not panic about how you're going to pay your bills, but actually understand that the difference between the rich person and the poor person always looks at their income statement and the rich person always looks at their assets, right? What do you consider asset? First of all, again, like now it doesn't matter whether you are a retailer or manufacturer. Even if you are perfect, like a perfect salesperson, and if you have a perfectly built store and you have an amazing salespeople, you still have to put more effort in selling the same thing that 5 years ago you was selling without any effort at all. The same goes for me with B2B sales. Things that were super easy like 2 years ago, now it takes more time, it takes more effort, it takes more face to face time with the customers, it takes more business trips, shows, programs. You cannot do the same thing and expect the same result. And another thing that I think is a big problem that we keep comparing to 2021, 2022, and most companies build their target based on the previous years, right? And the previous year, when you compare 2022 to 2021, and your next year, 2023, this is not realistic because like those numbers were achieved only with those financial injections that are not happening right now. Yes, right now is opposite. Like look at your interest rate. If you miss your credit card payment, compare how much it would cost you 2 years ago, how much it costs you now. So this is like, unfortunately, everything in the world is super connected between each other. Unfortunately, you cannot ignore those things, and just complain about like how bad things are, because then you will be the first one wiped out of this market. And then there is also a lot of uncertainty in the world, uncertainty in the world to the degree that for the last 5 years, I'm sure many of us wondering like, was this the end of the world or not, right? And even now, like start of the year, but so much has already happened, and many people who are not used to such an unstable environment, socially, geopolitically, etc., they are depressed. They are concerned because like it's very easy to have an established business that has been running for 20, 30 years, and you were always making good amount of money because you always had a good foot traffic or good loyal client base, and now it's like declining from 30 to 50%, right? And now you cannot rely on this anymore because some of those people are not even horny anymore to buy your stuff, So, like for you, retailer, the game is to bring new business. How do you bring new business? First of all, let's be realistic. No matter how I feel about this, but most people spend on Instagram most of their day, right? So if you are not there, if somebody has to Google your store to find it online, then chances are very little that your message will ever reach this target audience that could have potentially become your new income streams. So, meaning, if before you just decided for yourself, I'm not doing it, I don't understand anything about it, and this is not something I'm good at, now it's the time that you start learning or you invest in people who understand what to do with this. I'm not saying you have to rely on these platforms completely because they have a lot of restrictions, right? So if you just keep posting the pictures of vibrators, just a matter of time when you're going to be banned or removed from the platform. So you have to start working with the platform, right? Offer the content that is captivating for your audience. And again, how to offer this kind of content? You have to first understand who you are as a business. What values do you have? How you gonna approach it? Is it gonna be more about your like personal brand? Are you a woman standing for women's right that owns the shop? Or are you a couple that has been living together for 35 years because they have the shop and because they try all of this together, and you give tips online, or you are posting fun memes and people have fun with it, they love when they see it, and then they come to your store and they feel relaxed and there's fun atmosphere and there's like a big souvenir section, or maybe even area for taking pictures somewhere like with some funny things on it, like the Instagram boost, whatever it is. But those kind of things, you gotta get creative with that, because not being there just because you don't like it, it's not an answer anymore. Because I did the same thing. Like I never wanted to like have social media in the first place. I was thinking that it was unhealthy thing to do, and I still think that way. Like I keep track of how much time I spend there, but I know that like 80% of people don't even do those things. They're just there because it's addictive, right? Some people are addicted to drugs, some people are addicted to this kind of things. Social media and influencer marketing are proven to be the most efficient marketing tools in 2026, no matter what your industry is, including our industry. And another thing is, if you have brick and mortar store, right? You are not Walmart. You might have only 5 people coming to the store the entire day. So you have to make sure that the person who works at the store is able to sell to these 5 people and to upsell to them. Because the thing is, when you pay them hourly rate and there is no bonus, there is no motivation, there is no reason for them to stand up when the customer comes in, these people are not going to be making you money. They're going to be just there so nobody comes and steals stuff, but they're not going to be generating your any income in the times when every purchase, every dollar spent has to be justified. I'm not going to criticize the entire market in terms of the education, because I know that the standard that we had at Pink Rabbit was maybe too high, because I have never seen anything like that here. But it's still the matter of, first of all, figuring out whether this person is here because they love this industry, because they want to learn about it, because they are passionate about it, or they are just here to pay their bills. If they're just here to pay their bills, if it's a temporary job, I'd suggest you either get rid of them or you educate them and have them passing the tests. You cannot be selling at the adult shop without knowing anatomy, without knowing the groups of products, without knowing materials compatibility. You cannot. There is no way. You cannot just be there as a security guard, because the brick and mortar exists in our case of adult retail, because again, we are not Walmart, right? And we all understand that all this stuff can be bought on Amazon for like some cents, basically, in comparison with what you are marking it up. But people who still come to the store, they come to talk, they come to ask for the advice, they need to have this conversation with somebody who understands what they're talking about. And like everything else in life, it can be learned, but if you just throw people on the sales floor without explaining them any of those things, or if you don't know them yourself, then that's also an answer why your sales are in a free fall. Because just to give you an idea, for us to hire a new person to work even night shift at the store, they had to take 7 days of classes, lectures, whole day, every category one by one, with the homework, with 100-page menu, with the test, with the exam at the end, and then with the trial period, and then with another test in 6 months. Like, this is not something that any salesperson from the smoke shop can do. Please also think about that. If you know that you have some problematic salespeople in your team, reconsider this. And again, bonus system and motivation is crucial, because just paying $15, $16 per hour, of course, will not motivate anybody. And I think another thing that we will see in upcoming year, that of course the shift towards online purchases is happening very rapidly, right? And now to bring people to the store, you have to really try so hard and be super creative with that, because there are so many choices, right? So many choices where to go. There are so many things to do, and there are so many reasons not to do them. But if you have a store and you pay monthly rent and you need to bring more people or new people, offer them value even in that. Make your store a destination for something, right? It can be anything. You can have a, I don't know, let's say, sex therapist once per week answering people's question, or you can have a workshop, how to give head, how to give hand job. You can charge people for that, and then you can make additional sales at the end of the training, and that works amazing. Like, really, like, you can compensate the losses of the entire week just in one day. Now, instead of just relying on this margin from selling products and making those transactions, you offer people something that, first of all, is helpful, right? Something that will make them come to the store in the first place, not to order it from Jeff Bezos, and the word of the mouth still works. Like if they come to you for the event like this, or let's say it's a couple's night, or maybe it's even a speed dating, I don't know, or you reach out to your manufacturers, because I think like the way stores and manufacturers interact, that's another issue, right? Because mostly it's also transactional. Manufacturer wants to sell a bunch of product, and the retailer wants to buy it maybe at the cheaper price, or not to buy it at all. But what about if we really start working together? Really start working together and analyze. Hey, like this is not moving for me. What can we do? Can you offer me gift with purchase? Can you offer me spiff promotion? Let's say like $2 for each of those products sold, so that your salespeople can concentrate specifically on that. If this is not moving, have you done a training? Like I'm like so confused all the time, because so many people would open an account at the trade show, and then 4 months later they go, oh, this is not selling. And for all these 4 months I've been trying to schedule a training with them. I've been reaching out, hey, how's it going, blah blah blah, so let's schedule a Zoom training, do you want me to come to you and train your stuff, all the things, and there is no answer how your salespeople are supposed to sell it, relying on the final consumer to just be in need of this specific thing. It does not work like this. That's why you have salespeople like that, because they supposed to know how to sell. And if your salespeople don't know sales techniques, this is like basic for any sales in this world, then don't even try, don't expect too much. But with your manufacturers, with vendors, they are as interested in making it move as you are. But nobody reaches out to me about those things, so I assume this is just the way it is. But I'm just trying to draw your attention to this topic, because manufacturers have budgets, they have capability to help you, but you gotta say something.